This is when money stalls, and that can happen even when you're doing everything right. So, tonight is not about fixing your relationship with money. It's about understanding what's actually happening when money feels slow, tight, or inconsistent, even though you're showing up and doing the work. Many people assume that when money stalls, it means they've done something wrong, they're out of alignment, or they aren't trying hard enough. But what I want to name right now and be very clear about is that this assumption alone creates pressure in the nervous system. And pressure is one of the biggest disruptors of financial flow. So, today, tonight, whenever you're watching this, we're not trying to change outcomes. We're going to look at the mechanics underneath the experience calmly and without self blame. This is an explanatory session. There's no manifesting, there's no activation, there's nothing you need to do or become or anything different that you need to achieve today. If you leave with more clarity and less tension, then this session has done its job. All right, so let's talk about abundance versus circulation. Abundance is a state, money is movement. You can have one without the other for a period of time. Abundance refers to your internal sufficiency, your steadiness, and choice. It is a felt sense that there is enough space, time, and permission to make decisions without panic. Money flow refers to responsiveness, timing, and exchange. It is relational. It depends on how value moves between people, systems, and moments. This is why someone can feel deeply grateful, regulated, and aligned, yet still notice money moving slowly or unpredictably. When people stabilize internally, money often pauses briefly while the system recalibrates. The old ways of earning, exchanging, or receiving may no longer match with that internal rhythm, that new internal rhythm. And the system just needs time to reorganize. This pause is not punishment, and it's certainly not failure. It's just the transition between patterns. So, why slowing down can disrupt money temporarily? A lot of times people just hear that and go, well, it makes sense. You're not being as productive. You're not putting out as much energy. So, of course, the exchange or the return should be less. But that's not the case. And we'll explain here. Most people earn money in conditions of urgency: work harder, hurry, push, prove. And these strategies often worked. They created predictable outcome or predictable income because they were fueled by pressure, adrenaline, and overextension. When you stopped operating that way, the nervous system feels relieved, but the money pattern has not yet learned that new rhythm. The body is no longer willing to sacrifice itself, but the internal or external systems, sorry, the external systems have not fully adjusted to that change that you've had within yourself. So those old strategies created speed and predictability, but new strategies are requiring trust, pacing, and timing. And there's often that lag between the two. And that lag can feel frightening because it removes those familiar reference points. Sometimes we're seeking those reference points from situations or external stimuli. If I put out content and I'm putting out content at a really good rate, right? I'm hitting all the measurements. I'm hustle, I'm grinding, I'm posting 5 times a day. I'm posting a static post. I'm posting a video. I'm posting, all these different, I have a carousel, I have a reel, I have a long form content, right? And you're doing all of these things. You may be being rewarded from the field with likes or interaction or some kind of turnover, but it's still built under that state of hustle and grind and having to prove yourself. So although that there's that predictability of, if I work hard enough, then I will see something coming back from the field. We're trying to step out of that, having to hustle and grind and burn yourself out just to get that result, right? So we're getting into that space of just pausing and sitting with our nervous system, regulating our nervous system, having that ability to hold more capacity and to show up in alignment with ourselves without the hustle and grind and the constant having to, perform or to produce or to be in that urgent state. So the pause is just reorganization. And what is reorganizing is not your worth or your capacity, but the way effort, value, and timing relate to one another. Money and the nervous system. So money is not just numbers. It is tied to housing, food, time, autonomy, and survival. And because of this, the body tracks money very closely, often before the mind has words for what it feels. So when money feels uncertain, the nervous system interprets that potential as a potential threat. It responds with vigilance, tightening, or avoidance, depending on learned patterns. When the nervous system is under pressure, it seeks control. That's why a lot of individuals who have an unregulated nervous system can operate through some layers of OCD. The control of the environment is a way to create safety. That's what we're trying to do. Control feels like safety in the short term, but control restricts that responsiveness, because now you're trying to control how it's coming instead of allowing it to arrive in that flow or in that state that it's meant to, aligning with you and aligning with just the natural flow of life. Flow is different, right? So control and flow do not coexist. Flow requires enough safety to respond, adjust, and receive. When the system is braced, it cannot do that easily, even if the person is trying very hard or doing everything right. Okay, flow and control cannot be in the same space. So why trying harder often makes it worse? When money feels slow, most people respond by tightening, pushing, or overworking. And that is understandable, but it often reinforces the very pattern that blocks your flow, that very thing that is blocking you from being in flow. Money is currency. It is meant to be flowing. So when we're in a control state, we block that natural flow of currency. And we also block ourselves from having the ability to respond to the cues that are in our body and the cues that are coming at us from society, and to pivot or turn or tweak or make changes that are in response to that are in alignment with you, instead of changing things because you're in fear mode and in that urgency of, oh my God, it's not working. That thing that I put out there, it didn't have the reply back that I was anticipating. I launched a course and nobody bought it. And so then you think, there must be something wrong with me, or this whole course, like it must be something wrong with it, or I'm not in alignment, I'm doing something wrong. There's always looking for that rationale behind it, instead of recognizing that maybe the course was right. Maybe the timing was wrong. Maybe you launched it too soon because you were in an urgent state of, I have to get this out here so that I have something out there that's making money and that has the ability to bring money back to me. So there's that exchange that's happening. And sometimes that urgency, you're not responding to the field, that as the field is ready, you're responding to that inner urgency that I have to produce these things. I have to put content out there. I have to make another class, create another book, write another song, do another thing. I have to create something. I have to be hustling and grinding. I can't stop. I got to work 24 hours a day. That's a bit ridiculous. But I was someone that lived within these spaces. I've had to work through them. And I've also been the person that has went from hustle, grind, control, urgency to that state of peace, where abundance is very prevalent around me, but the flow of money was not shown in the same way. So I would feel like I was doing something. How can I be abundant? How can I be at peace? How can my nervous system be so relaxed and yet the flow of money is still stalled? Why is that the case? And for one, the field has to respond to those changes that you've done within you. And we have to stay in that state without thinking something's wrong and that we're going to start switching or tweaking or changing and then throw everything out. Right. So when we are in that state where we're pushing from the nervous system perspective, pushing signals danger, not trust. It tells the system that there's something wrong and it must be forced. Systems do not operate under threat, they contract. And you may even feel yourself contract when you're under threat. I used to do this little test with people, and I'd say, if somebody's, you're looking to make money, and maybe you're a business owner and you have a company like mine, and you create content or education, and you put that education out there, and you don't get that response back. It's not looking at the entire education and just throwing it out because it's just garbage. It's not, it could be looking at it and tweaking it. But one of the things that I like to get people to do is to look at that product or service or whatever it is that you're asking for, that exchange of money. And it could even be your salary, negotiating your salary or negotiating your rate of pay. These things are significant, and they can show you where you are in regards to money. So if I say to myself, I'm going to launch this beautiful course, and I know that the course is jam-packed with value, it's going to have wonderful results, and I put it out there and I'm thinking about the pricing of it, and I say the number. Say I'm putting out a 6-week course and I say $1,000 for this course. Feel in your body how it responds to that. If your body tightens, then there's something in you that's blocked to receiving $1,000 in exchange for what it is. So you either don't see the value in the product that you're providing yourself, or you don't see the value in you, that you are worth that exchange, or there's something else that's underlying that needs to be addressed. That contraction or tightening in your system is giving you an indication that your nervous system isn't comfortable with that. Whatever it is. And like I said, we're using money as an example right here. So this is why trying harder can lead to exhaustion without results, because more effort does not always create movement. Sure, you may be able to hustle and grind and push and just drive yourself to a state where you are getting you're getting money back for what you're putting out there, but it's not going to be in that flow space where it's actually ease, it's in alignment. You're not hustle and grinding. At some point in that state of push, go, do, in that state, you will eventually burn out. Your tank's going to run dry. And then what's going to happen to the flow of money then, right? So more effort does not always create more movement. Flow responds to steadiness, not force. When you can be steady in your nervous system and steady in the way that you're approaching things, then that doesn't mean that it's exactly the same every single day in a very structured and organized way. Flow is where we can look at things and say, this structure is great, but it served its purpose. So now I need to look at this structure and change it a little bit so that it's more in alignment with me now. Or I can see how I've been very, on point, showing up, consistent, and that has been great. But that consistency is no longer in alignment with me in that way. So I need to look at what is in alignment with me and make shifts and changes to my day-to-day, the way that I show up, or the way that I am flowing and structured throughout the day. So flow responds to steadiness, not force. And steadiness allows timing, responsiveness, and exchange to reestablish themselves without self-abandonment. So we need to be looking at some of the examples of stuff that can be an example of an issue with money, right? So when we're checking the bank balance compulsively, like you're always checking in on it, there's a fixation with money. when you have a feeling of relief when money comes in and then it goes to tension again. The opposite to checking the bank balance all the time is the other person on the other end who doesn't look at it at all. They're just avoiding the conversation, they're avoiding looking at them and just staying away. The other is oscillating between hope and then pressure, right? And going back between those states. That hope state may pull in the money, but the pressure state is going to stall it all. So you'll go between those states where you start to see some money coming in, and then you get tens, stops it, starts to come in, tens. Okay. So we're going to do a guided reorientation for today. I'm going to put on a little bit of background music. I hope that it picks it up through this. I'm recording on StreamYard as opposed to Zoom. I know on Zoom you have to change it so that you can hear the background music. You have to change a little thing. But I am going to trust that you'll be able to hear this, Okay. So, oops, pardon me. I think I ended up pushing it to the next one. Okay, perfect. We have the music. Alrighty. So you do not need to close your eyes unless that feels comfortable for you or you're in a safe position to do so. All right. So let's begin. Okay, for some reason it's not. Okay. Perfect. Close your eyes if you feel comfortable, okay? And just let your attention drop into your body. You can assist this process by placing a hand on your lower belly and one on your chest. It just helps you to connect to your body more easily. In this space, I want you to notice your feet on the floor or wherever they're touching. Maybe you're seated cross-legged. I want you to now soften your jaw. Release your tongue from the top of your mouth. Allow a little space between your teeth. Allow the tension to go out of the muscles. Place your attention in the hand that's on your chest. And breathe into that space just below your hand. Now drop your awareness down to your lower hand. That should be on your lower belly. And breathe into that space. In this moment, you are safe and secure. Nothing needs to change. Nothing needs to be fixed. There's nowhere to go. There's nothing to do. The lists are all cleared and checked off. And right now, the time is endless. It's free. And so are you. In holding yourself and pausing in this moment, you're showing your body that it's safe to pause. There's nothing to do and nowhere to go. We just simply need to be here and now. We're not visualizing money or future imagery. We're not digging into emotions. We're just resting, safe. If you notice any tightness or space within your body that feels stagnant, breathe into that space, and as you do, feel it release, opening up, flowing, freedom. It is safe to just be. You are secure to pause. And all I want you to do now is just notice if things feel a little less tight. Allowing yourself this opportunity to sit in stillness, safe and secure, knowing that nothing needs to be done and there's nowhere to go. In this moment, just breathe. I encourage you to place a practice like this within your day, where you just honor the moment. You step into your space, allowing it to flow. No control, no hurry or urgency, no to-do lists or deadlines. Just a moment in time where you can breathe and remind yourself that you are safe and secure. When you are ready, you can return back to this moment and open your eyes if you closed them. So, what we explored in this episode wasn't something to fix, it's something to understand and observe. Over the next few days, I want you to notice the moments of pressure, the moments of urgency, and the moments where you softened instead of pushed. Those moments of pressure, notice them and maybe drop into a moment of stillness where you remind yourself how secure and safe you are. In those moments of urgency, again, pull yourself back into that space and realize that to slow down, to move from alignment and flow is going to return the currency of money to you a lot faster than control, pressure, urgency, and go, go, go will ever do. If you're constantly in your masculine energy of giving and doing and pushing and producing, how can you be in your feminine energy of receiving? That was a big one for me to open up to. So, if this session helped you understand your relationship with money more clearly, I have a deeper 3-day series, the Christic Wealth Activation series, and I'm also planning on bringing another 3-day series out that will explore this further. There is no requirement to attend this session that we had today. Just enjoy. We may in the 3-day session. I'll post when it's going to happen. I hope to do it before the end of February, but there's always a possibility that it will get pushed because it will be in flow or more in alignment to do it in March instead. Okay, so sometimes understanding alone changes more than effort ever did. So I hope that this helps you. And I hope that you can share this to others, that it may benefit as well. Okay, so that's important to know. So some of the key reminders: money flow and self-worth are not the same thing. Pressure disrupts your circulation. Pauses often signal reorganization, not a collapse or not a misalignment or anything like that. It's the field realigning and reorganizing itself to you and your flow and nervous system capacity. Steadiness creates responsiveness. So the simple practices for you to carry forward are to notice when urgency appears, pause before reacting, and return your attention to the body. And your reflection question, which will help you to further integrate this session, is: what changes when I stop trying to force movement? And I hope that you enjoyed this session, and check out Anshara'El for other education. I have courses, books, memberships, classes. I have readings, and so much more. There's lots available at Anshara'El, and there is also a free group called the Temple of Light. So please at least go join the free group. You have nothing to lose. Love you.